Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nigel here, and today we are back with another fighting game news for a month, and this time we are talking about March of 2025. Now, the news in March, I want to say there was a good amount of news, but it was very interesting. Like, I can't really describe it necessarily, but it's just like some interesting stuff occurred in this month that's like, okay, this is very unusual, but I'm cool with it relatively. There's some bad news here and there, but relatively it's not terrible. Okay, but there's gonna be timestamps if you want to skip to a certain section, and if I do miss anything, let me know down below, because it's possible I did miss some news of a fighting game of some sort. With that being said, let's begin with the video. So the first thing we're going to be talking about here is going to be Tekken 8, and this is kind of like exciting news but kind of bad news at the same time. So season 2 just dropped, I believe, yesterday, which was the 31st of March, and before that we had a Tekken talk, which is what I'm showing now, and they're kind of breaking down what's going to be added, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it was not good. Like if you tech a grab, you get chip damage and stuff like that, and like this freaking going more into heat essentially, so it's looking kind of like luckily though, they did actually notice a few things we said, like, okay, our complaints, and they're like, okay, we're gonna change a few things, and they changed a few things, like you tech a grab, you don't get chip damage, which is nice, stuff like that. But even still, when you get into the new season, like you're looking at all the stuff, bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's looking quite crazy. Like the game's more aggressive than it ever was, to be honest. That's the best way I can describe it. Like more homing moves, a lot more plus moves. Like Clive has a forward 1+2, which is just him using Ramu spear, and it's +4, I think. And then he has the Garuda grab, what's it called, Deadly Snatch or something like that. I can't remember from Final Fantasy 16, but he pretty much has get over here, essentially, that Scorpion move. That's essentially it, or Nero's grab, I guess you could say, from Devil May Cry, and that is pretty crazy. A lot of moves for certain characters, like gain heat back. Like Kazuya has a lot of moves that give him heat back if he's in Devil, which I guess that makes sense because he's really kind of like whatever if he's not into Devil, so I get that. King has homing command grabs, which is just insane. Alyssa, crazy. Jack, everybody's crazy essentially, and this is kind of like the direction we kind of didn't want that much. We wanted more defensive options actually to deal with heat, or to make heat less, but I don't know, man. Like I guess we'll have to wait and see further down the line, like how everybody feels about it, because relatively majority is negative. Like overall it's heavily negative, which I can understand for sure, and I can kind of agree with that sentiment, because like I kind of prefer a bit more defensive mechanics, or just buffing defense, but it is what it is, I guess, when it comes to that. But yeah, the cool thing I guess they did add is that you can now see combos during matches. Like you can actually see stuff like that, or counters, punish. So for people that wanted that, you can visually see that. I'm gonna turn that off personally, because I don't really I don't need it. I don't really care about it too much, because there's like already cues in the game for it, but it is what it is. But yeah. But essentially that is pretty much it for the Tekken 8, and moving on to the next game. The next game we're going to be talking about here is Guilty Gear Strive with the Venom trailer. Now, we knew Venom was coming because they showed all of the DLC characters. Like, we knew all of them, who they were. We knew he was going to be the next. And did he disappoint? I don't believe he did. I think he's actually a fairly interesting character. He's a very complex character, just like he was in the past before. Now, personally, I never used him in the past. I didn't really... If you weren't Sin, Kai, or Soul, I wasn't really messing with you that much, to be honest. There's like very few characters besides those three, so I was like, he looks cool, but whatever. But in this game, I'm not gonna lie, he does look pretty neat. I will say, this is a bit of a cool thing and not a cool thing at the same time. Since Robo Kai is helping him, I'm assuming Robo Kai is never coming back as like a playable character, at least not in this game. Like, he's done for, so it's like, rest in peace all the people that wanted Robo Kai, because he's not coming back. He's an assist for Venom, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I also do like how they still managed to add his like ball thing that just travels forward slowly, and I'm just like, I knew that they were gonna be able to do it, but I wasn't sure how they were gonna balance it out. So I'm not sure if it's really strong or not in the game, but I haven't really checked too much in the Guilty Gear scene as of recent, honestly, because I've been kind of just checked out of the series relatively. But I will say there's another thing with Venom. He did actually, on his release, I think it was on the World Tour or something like that, ranked is actually going to be a thing in Guilty Gear Strive, and you would think, wasn't an ARIA system? Not necessarily. Like, you have the thing where you find an opponent, you can go to another floor or whatever, and you were locked, and you couldn't go, I think, to the lower floors, I think. That wasn't really ranked. It was just like, you're fighting people, and I guess what you could fight more stronger people, but now it's like an official ranked mode, so that's like a thing Guilty Gear players have been asking for a while, so that's kind of amazing news. So that's actually pretty solid. So yeah, but that's pretty much it talking about Guilty Gear, because Venom came out on the 24th of March. So now we're going to be moving on to the next game. The next game we're going to be talking about here is going to be 2XKO, and the news here is kind of like a breakdown of them just explaining more details about the game before it comes out, and it seems like it's probably going to come out probably either in summer or fall, I'd imagine. And it's only going to have 10 characters, which is kind of like, whoa, very, very low, but, you know, I'm pretty sure still people are going to be playing it because it's a free game, so it's not going to be too big of a deal necessarily. It is for a lot of people, or no, kind of like 50-50, I want to say, not a lot, but it's like, it's kind of half and half a little bit. It's like, oh, it's kind of low, and it's half and the other. But, something that is very huge detail for that game for sure. But besides that, they're also doing some systematic changes to the gameplay. Like, for instance, if you do like a crouching heavy attack, I believe you get more invincibility frames, I believe, or essentially priority. I could be mistaken on that. Maybe it's you have some now, or you just get more. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I think it's something like that too. And they are changing a few things with, or I should say a lot of things with the system. I forget what it's called, but it's like the like you get to select a style. This, I guess, a style system, I'm just gonna call it that. Essentially, I didn't really watch too much in depth about it, but I know they're doing stuff with that. And obviously, Jinx is being added, and they're describing her as an annoying character and a zoner character. So definitely a character, if I do play the game, probably not gonna touch. But hey, if you're interested in a zoner, this is probably gonna be a character for you, because they're gonna be very, very annoying how they were showing gameplay of her. But that is essentially it for 2XKO. Now we'll be moving on to the next game. The next game we're going to be talking about here is Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, with the Ronaldo trailer that dropped. And I got to say, that was a very interesting trailer. Like, we knew he was going to be showing up eventually as a playable character, because they like teased it a while ago. And I made a video already talking about it, but essentially, I think personally, is he going to be the reason why I get the game? Though I already have my reasons, because I think the game looks cool. I want to use Kane, I want to use Rock and stuff like that. So I'm set to go. But for people that like football, they're probably going to be getting the game for him if they're fans of him. So that's pretty cool. I think his gameplay is very, very interesting. Like, I think actually his gameplay is kind of sick. I'll try him out, but he ain't going to be a main or anything. But I will say, he does look very, very interesting in how like a lot of his techniques are. I guess like the only con I would say about the trailer for him is that, well, he doesn't have his voice, but I guess that makes sense. So it's kind of not at the same time, because he's not a voice actor. Ronaldo's not a voice actor. He's a football player. So it's like, he probably wouldn't really be super good, but they're probably, like I said in the other video, they're going to have a voice pack for him just to maybe change it. I'd imagine them doing that maybe for DLC or just, you know, for free or something like that, but that's probably going to be something they potentially do in the future. But yeah. His gameplay kind of reminds me of one of the American team members. I think the basketball player. I can't remember his name from King of Fighters, but that's what he reminds me of a little bit. But like, you know, with a football this time. So it's kind of interesting in a way. So I think they did really, really good overall. Like, showing him the gameplay wise, it looks cool. And another thing I wanted to mention too, there was another beta, a second beta, but this time which I believe started on the 26th or 25th and ended on the 31st. And this beta actually allowed you to do training mode and actually do a few improvements to the online experience. So it's a lot better of a beta. I didn't unfortunately play it at all, because I was playing another game that I'm going to mention later in this video. But definitely, from what I've heard, it was a better beta overall, especially with the training mode, so you can actually lab and learn some cool combos. So I regrettably didn't get to play it. But I'm going to get the game anyway, so I'll play it eventually, so I'm not really too mad about it. But either way, that is essentially it. Moving on to the next game. The next game we're going to be talking about here is Iron Saga Versus, which is a mech fighting game. And I didn't even know this thing existed. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people didn't either, so that's why it was never on, you know, fighting game news for a month or whatever. So, like, this is just, like, for me, this came out of nowhere, because no one was really talking about this. And this is a character trailer for Nero, and a bit of a gameplay trailer too, because showing like other things you can do in the game too as well. And also has robot too, so that's kind of interesting. And this game seems very peculiar. Like, I don't think this would be a game I would get personally, because it just looks kind of like, alright. Like, I think there's some cool stuff in there, but it's like, yeah. Like, if it was like a Gundam fighting game, mech game, okay, that's me. We can do something with that. But for me personally, this doesn't really suit me. But I do like how this game has rollbacks, so it's already like a good chance for this game to do relatively well. The gameplay system does look fairly interesting as well, because it seems like you could switch out your abilities too if you wanted to switch to a different thing that might be useful for a matchup of some sort. So that's kind of cool too. So doesn't seem like a necessarily bad game actually like to play per se. I will say the game is a bit expensive. It's $30, so it's like it's not just some $20 fighting game or something like that. It is $30, so it's like okay, a bit bigger. And I believe this game came out March 21st, so there you go. And there is a roadmap, and there are other DLC characters as well. So this game does seem like it's like, hey, if you're gonna be playing it, there's gonna be content to continue to play on. Like if you want other characters too, so that's kind of cool. But that is essentially it for Iron Saga Versus. Moving on to the next and last game. The last game we're going to be talking about today is going to be Bleach Rebirth of Souls. And you're like, what? That's not really a fighting game. It's just a 3D arena fighter. No, it is not. And to be fair, I guess it's technically not a fighting game. But dude, it has the elements of it, man. It's such a fun game, bro. It's an Axel fighter, I want to say. So it's like kind of like JoJo a little bit, in my opinion, somewhere around there. And it's like the little brother of a fighting game. It's like it's right there, bro. It's like you're almost there. Like I want to say like a 3D arena fighter is like a cousin of some sort of fighting games. Like this one is like, bro, just a few things, and you're right there because it has a lot of fighting game aspects that I really do enjoy. The thing that makes me like the game a lot is definitely like the neutral and the whiff punish and like kind of like the poking game you got going on, because you can't just throw out moves willy-nilly. That's when like it is very neutral focused, very crucial like to use your moves very wisely, because there's like the Kompaku system and how that works, and the Keycon, which Keycon is just like your health stocks essentially, and you have special moves that'll like lower them, and you kind of want to wait to see if you want to soul break, which is completely make your opponent's health go all the way to the bottom to do even more damage to their Keycon. So it's really unique in that way, because you're kind of like strategizing like, how do I want to do this, when do I want to do this. It makes you think. And I don't really feel that for most not fighting games, but 3D arena fighters, because that's why I'm like, this is not a 3D arena fighter. For one, you can't turn around and just walk backwards. You can't just explore the map. You're like stuck, like you're facing the opponent always, essentially. So that's what kind of just takes it out of the window that it's not a 3D arena fighter. So I think that's like just the biggest thing too for like saying it's not. But yeah, it just feels really good of a game. I like a lot of the characters too. Favorite Bleach character for me always has been Grimmjow for me, so I'm like, yes, a game where I can actually use him and he's fun. I also use Ukleora, just a lot of these spotters, honestly. Ukleora, Netero. I use Gin. Who else do I use? I use quite a few characters, but Grimmjow's #1 for me. I think Netero might be my best character though, because like he does a lot of damage, and I'm really smart in how I use my armored attacks, because oh man, and everybody has their own gimmick with their Bankai or their Resurrection too, so it just makes the game feel really special too. But I guess you could say the reason why I added this to this fighting game news for a month is because this game looks like it's going against the right direction, or for anime games, just like, well, we're getting closer into the fighting game genre a bit more. Not necessarily like making a fighters whatever game, like fighters Naruto game or something like that, but just like in its own thing, in a 3D manner. I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I would like to see more like this, close to this, and closer to fighting games, because I feel this game feels really good, is essentially what I'm saying. It feels great. If anime games go more closer to this direction, I think they'll get a bigger audience later down the line in the future. So I just wanted to mention this heavily, because I messed with the game a lot. Now, if I'm being so real with you, when it comes to Tekken 8 and Bleach Rebirth Souls, I'm probably going to be playing Bleach more, because I'm like, I get there's some crazy stuff in Bleach, don't get me wrong, because it's an anime game, but dude, do you see the stuff in Tekken 8, bro? It's like, where do you go? Like, besides Virtual Fighter, which I think Virtual Fighter is an absolutely amazing fighting game, but it's like no one's playing it, so it's like, where am I supposed to go? Because I actually like that game, but I can't find a match. And then the Bleach game, I can find matches and they're really fun, but sometimes I go up against the freaking Dangai Ichigo or Aizen or something, so it's like, what? But either way, that's essentially all the fighting game news for a month. I'm sorry if I was rambling a little bit, but I was just really passionate about it, the fighting games and just games, so you know how it goes. But like I said, that's essentially all the fighting game news for a month. If I did miss anything, let me know down below in the comment section, and I will pin it if it is like something I missed. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, a great night, a great noon, or whatever time zone you guys are at, and I will see you guys in the next video.